Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MD's Baseball Podcast. Today is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. It's our 26th episode. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, back with my co-host, as always, my brother, Matthew Arne. Matt, we're back in action, my brother. We're back, ready to help the fans again. You ready?
Yes,
How you
sir.
doing?
I'm doing good. Long weekend. Still feeling it. Drank a little too much, but
Oh, yeah. Right with the holiday, I feel that. I
yeah.
feel that. So you know what? Let's just dive right into it. We'll get the fans what they need, back into the, groove of things here. So we're going to start with the finger on the pulse as always. And you know what? I just feel like, 2 months into the season here almost, in week 8, in the middle of it, in the deep, I just feel like it's time to get really serious, to lock in with your team and, figure out where you stand in, your standings and just try and figure out what you need to do next. So specifically some things that I want to point out, I want to say it's time to cut the dead weight, especially in shallower leagues, your 10s, your 12s, anything shallower than that. Just guys that aren't getting it done. I would say this, go out there, send some trade offers, to other teams and see what, they feel first. And then, if they're not really feeling anything, if no one's really responding, don't be afraid to cut bait. I always try and look at it like this. If you have another league, right, and you don't own a specific player, right, and somebody like dropped him, let's throw out a name here so we can just get a better vibe, right? Somebody who I cut bait with today. I cut Noah Syndergaard, right, in some of my shallower leagues. I just feel like this. I always say to myself, in some of my other leagues, if somebody dropped Noah Syndergaard, would I go out there to pick him up? And I just felt like the answer was no. Maybe in some of my deeper leagues, like, an only or, like a 15-man, yeah. But I dropped him in a couple shallower leagues, and I said, you know what, there might be somebody better out there, some guys we're going to talk about today. So, Matt, why don't you chime in here with me? Throw out, some things you're feeling going in here. You could even vibe off what I said if you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You got to look at it like this. You got to figure out essentially what you need to construct your team and to make it better. So is that making a move? How do you make that move happen? Do you pile a bunch of guys? Do you have somebody picked off the waiver wire that, is killing it right now and then you can kind of flip? Is, how do you get that done? How do you make your team better to move forward? Because you know what? Time's running out. I mean, baseball is a long season, but we're in week 8 now.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, at this point, you gotta make something drastic if you're down in the weeds like I am. You've been just murdered by the injury bug, or you just haven't got things just haven't lined up for you. So what you do is maybe you move one of your injured guys, right? I don't know. I can think of like 5 names.
You're throwing out there, Matt. Throwing out there.
You could trade Eloi. You could trade Tatis. You could trade a whole bunch because you know what? You can hold on to these guys and not gonna be back till July, but you may not be in it in July.
Yeah.
So
yes.
It's
totally
one of those.
agree.
It's one of those things where, hey, maybe we just make that trade to a team that's winning, that can kind of take clog up that IL spot, and you can get a friggin' haul for a Tatis or somebody like that, Lance Lynn or Jack Flaherty or somebody of the sort.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Matt, there in the sense of if you're at the bottom right now of your standings and you're just being killed by the injury bug, like Matt and I are saying here, cut the dead weight if you can't trade it, basically at this point in time. And if you're at the top right now, I'd say you could always play it safe, but once again, fantasy is a long season, so I still feel like you should be very active in making moves and feeling out there with trades and stuff like that. It's just not the time where you kind of want to get comfortable and not check your lineup for a few days or say what, I don't need that hot pickup right now, because you always need the hot pickup. You never know when you're going to be get banged with the injury bug or anything of that sort. So basically what Matt and I are trying to get the point across this year is 8 weeks in, 2 months in, it's not time to sit still, especially if you're at the bottom. Now's the time to go out there, make those trades, make sure you're staying on top of the pickups, and make sure you're listening to the fantasy MDs as well, guys. So basically, just want to throw out there, this is, we're going to do our infamous waiver wire, segment right after we hit the news and notes, because we haven't been with you for, a couple days here. So I'm just going to try and run through some news and notes, what's been going on in baseball real quick. And then, stay tuned for, we got some good pickups for you today. I promise you guys, you don't want to miss out on the names we're going to throw out there. So to hit the news and notes. We're going to start with Clayton Kershaw looking a little bit better. Thanks for him. He threw another bullpen today. It was about 35 pitches. As long as he's feeling good, they're saying that he's going to start a rehab assignment sooner than later. So that looks good for him. He's been pretty good this year. He's getting a little bit older, but I think Matt and I were telling you guys, in the preseason that Kershaw is one of the best pitchers in the game, and he's when healthy, he does this thing. Cody Bellinger, another Dodger. He's missed the last 4 games with a groin injury. I believe they said he's going to be back tomorrow, but I'd stay tuned on that one. Just keep your eyes open. Steven Strasberg, man, this one is gets more interesting with this guy every time you hear about him. He threw 5 hitless innings in his last minor league rehab assignment. The next one he's supposed to throw 6 innings or 80 pitches, whichever comes first. Guys, I say go out there and pick him up if he's out there. I kind of just want to pull up what he's owned on Yahoo for the people right now, because he's interesting. Matt, thoughts on Strasburg? I know you're not a huge fan of his, but thoughts? He threw 5 scoreless in the last one.
That's just wonderful for him.
I can hear the enthusiasm.
So much, let me tell you. I mean, I wouldn't touch him with my wife holding the 10-foot pole.
No.
And if she did touch him with the 10-foot pole, I wouldn't touch her ever again.
Well, there we go. That's Matt's thoughts on Strasburg. He's 70% on, so I don't think you're really on Yahoo. So I don't think you're really getting him anywhere. So I'm just gonna keep it moving here.
If you're a savvy owner, trade him so quickly and get something.
Okay, fair enough. We got Shane Baz, Tampa Bay Rays prospect. He threw 4 scoreless in his last one Monday, and he's supposed to be activated this Friday, guys. I don't think he's out there in many leagues either at this point, but if you could go out there and make a trade for a guy like that, right before he comes back, sneak one out there, I would definitely try and do it. I think he's going to be one of the best young pitchers out there in the game for the next few years. Anthony Rendon hits the IL with the right wrist inflammation over the weekend, man. I mean, he's just kind of been off to a slow start this year. I'll be honest, I was high on him coming in, but things just haven't looked right. Maybe the injuries still eating at him there. He's getting a little bit older. I mean, I guess just adjust accordingly with that one there. Mike Soroka nearing a rehab assignment there for the Atlanta Braves. Very, very young, talented pitcher. If he's out there, let me get his ownership percentage too, because
17%.
Guys, go out there and pick up Mike Soroka, dude. Matt, I know it's one of your boys. You want to rant about him a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to try and sound too biased. There's some thoughts that may be. But anyway, he is a great talent back about 2 years ago before, he blew up his Achilles. And
yeah, didn't he hurt it twice?
Yeah, he did. And it was it's his planting foot, hence why he re-injured it, which is also why it's taking so long for him to do the recovery. If he was a football player, his career would probably be done twice over now. But luckily he pitches. But I mean, let's focus back on what he did 2 years ago. Kid was an outright talent. He really wasn't a K per 9 guy, but he did get you wins because he was on the Braves, and his ERA was just flawless at all times, and so was that WHIP. I don't have his numbers right in front of me, but all I could say
you want it from 2020, right? Or you want to go back to?
I would say 2020 because that was his breakout. No,
yeah, he was an all-star in 19. Let's go. In 2020, I think only had 3 starts. So let's go with 2019 here. 2019, Mike Soroka was an all-star. He went 13-4, had a 2.68 ERA. That was across 29 starts, 174 innings, 142 Ks, with a 1.11 WHIP. So just to bounce the vibe off of what my brother Matt was saying here is, kid's really good when he's out there pitching. He's been hampered by injuries the last couple of years, but I think he's a stash and kind of see what he got. But once again, guys, we know everyone's banged up and injured. That's only if you have the room type of move at the moment, according to me. Matt, any more thoughts there? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say this. So one thing that I think everybody kind of forgets is prior to him getting hurt, everybody was throwing a lot of Scherzer comps at him back when he was on Detroit. Scherzer had that same kind of feel about him. He really wasn't a K per 9, but he was like an ERA guy and a very, very consistent. His stuff was just outrageous. And then over his course of his career,
he started to figure it out.
Right, and the Ks started ticking up, and the ERAs started staying where it was. So that's how he became. So I mean, there's that. If people are throwing that kind of comp somebody's way, it's like saying, like this kid could be the next big thing. And you know what? In Dynasty and Keeper, I mean, I'm sure he's probably loaded up. He's worth an ad.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, at this point, he's worth an ad now and take a flyer.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I agree with you 100%. I was just trying to say is that if you're like, if I know some teams got 6, 7 guys on the IL. I mean, at that point, I'm kind of just going to sit back because we're not sure how close he is at the moment. But if you got room, guy 17% owned, former All Star, I believe he's only like 24, 25. So I mean, you go out there and get him if you got room with Mike Soroka. So next up here on the waiver, not waiver wire, on our news and notes, we got George Springer is out with a non-COVID related illness, so just adjust accordingly. I'm sure he'll be back within the next few days. Carlos Correa hits the COVID IL. Once again, adjust accordingly. He's going to be out for, I would say, at least maybe 7 days or so. We'll see how that goes. All right, Matt. Here's the big one. I know we haven't been with the fans for a while. So we're gonna take our time here. Ronald Acuna, Matt. They kind of didn't even want to really specific about what he's out with. I saw minor soreness. I was googling and just minor soreness. So I'm gonna say this, and then I'll let you take the floor. It's just that we kind of been saying here they gotta slow it down with him. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but sometimes you gotta stop the kid from himself. So once again, Matt, I don't want to say the same thing over and over again, but they gotta slow down with this kid and just let him DH and just that.
I feel I agree with that a hard hole entirely. It's just one of those things where the kid's got too much energy. He is incredible. It's not like he's playing bad either.
No, it's not. It's not even that.
But here's the thing. I think this is kind of going to be a thing for the rest of the year. I think he's going to just do a couple day-to-days, miss a couple games, play for like 2 weeks straight, miss 3 games. I think this may be the new little pattern for him, unfortunately. But I mean, hey, if you're in a keeper or dynasty, you ain't worrying about it. But
yeah, you just got to sit.
But so in a non-keeper league, it's entirely up to you. It depends on where you're at. So again, adjust accordingly.
If you're at the bottom and you got non-keeper, if you're at the bottom, you got to try and trade them, redraft, try and trade them. You'll
get a haul.
Take the big haul, take the healthy guys. That's basically to go back to what we're saying on the finger on the pulse at the beginning is this is a perfect example. A guy like that in redraft, take what you can get right now because you don't know what the rest of the season holds. I mean, it kind of looks like he's going to be a little banged up here and there. I'll even throw this out. Somebody we weren't really going to talk about, I'll just say this, just reminds me similar vibes. In redraft right now, do the same thing with Chris Bryant. He's not as valuable as Acuna, but I don't know what's going on with him with the back injury. It just kind of looks like it's going to be a lost season for the dude. So, guys like that, just to reiterate what we were saying at the beginning of the show, is guys like that you want to move for what you can get right now in redraft if you're at the bottom. So we're going to keep going here with the news and notes. Gene Segura, this is a big loss because the guy was on fire this year. The Philadelphia Phillies fractured his right index finger on a bunt. He's expected to miss the next 10 to 12 weeks. I think it's a drop in most leagues, at this point, because 10 to 12 weeks is a long time. Unless you got the room right now, I'd say cut him. Next one here, Eloi Jimenez, Chicago White Sox. He had a minor setback the other day with his hamstring, but he's supposed to play tomorrow today, Wednesday, actually. So I don't know if there's any update. I'm going to check and see if there's anything. Matt, I know it's one of your boys there. If you just want to talk about Eloi, let's see if he played today.
There is no update. Right. All it is, hey, he had a little setback. My man just tried to run a little too fast to first base and try and outrun it like an instant,
Yeah, it looks like from everything I'm seeing here, I can't see if he played or not today yet, but it looks like he was supposed to play tonight. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say that he was back on track and he played because there's no update at this very second.
I'm sure he did. I mean, they're going to do what they should be doing with Acuna and letting him take his strides and, come back slowly. I don't know if he's playing the field yet either. That's going to be another big thing. So
yeah, we'll see. I'm sure they're going to take it a little slow with him because he's a young stud and they don't want to, risk anything. But then again, hey, that's just me talking from what I would do. Let's keep it pushing here, though. We got another one of your boys, Jack Flaherty. He's supposed to throw one more side session, then he's going to head out on that rehab assignment. Finally, another just guy you should definitely have stash in all leagues at this point. Lance Lynch, Chicago White Sox. He threw 3 scoreless innings Monday. He's on track to join the team in 2 weeks or so, maybe even a little sooner. The White Sox team, they kind of need help right now. Another guy to the IL though. On a sadder note, Brandon Woodruff to the IL with that ankle sprain. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks. Another dude. I mean, I don't know in redraft at the moment if you can really get too much for him, but I would shop him around and kind of see if that name has any value to anybody, because I'm not sure what the rest of the year holds for him. I would kind of just say, in keepers and dynasty, you're holding them, but in redraft right now, I'd look to shop them. And if you don't got that room at the end of your bench, man, it's kind of tough to hold a guy like that. Was underperforming this year. Kyle Lewis, somebody that we were touting, Seattle Mariners. He fouled the ball off his his shoulder or something, or his leg, and it bounced back up, hit him in the head. He's going to be on the concussion list for at least 7 days. Stinks for a guy that everyone was high on. He actually had 2 homers since he had been back too. So stinks to see him hit the IL.
Yeah, he don't even know his own name right now. He came up, he looked up, and he was, I'm Batman.
Yeah, Lord. I mean, we wish the best for Kyle Lewis, man. I kind of hope he gets back. He looked really good, We got Tim Anderson headed to the IL with that groin sprain. He's going to be out at least 3 weeks. That stinks. He was on fire this year. Shortstop, just absolutely killing it. So just accordingly with that one, stinks to see that. Nolan Gorman, young prospect kid, got called up for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's day-to-day with that back stiffness. I'm sure he'll be back there sooner than later. Bryce Harper, another guy day-to-day with right forearm soreness. He's just been banged up this year, guys. I'd be prepared at all times for him to miss a couple days here and there, because he's dealing with that other injury too. I believe it's the shoulder, right, Matt, where he's not even playing the field right now. He's just DHing. So I'd be very, very careful with Bryce Harper these days. Don't know what the future holds for him either.
And I could kind of see, and this is just me talking, as players start getting a little bit more tired, we get a little bit more deeper into the season. If he's not able to play the field, he's probably going to get a little bit more days off, because they're going to need
definitely 100%
rest more guys, because he's just clogging up the DH spot. And I mean, quite honestly, too, you can't have Schwarber play defense for that long in the outfield, nor can you have Hoskins play first for that long either, because your team's just going to be obliterated.
Yeah, that's the thing that's really killing the Phillies, honestly, man. Is that defense for those pitchers they need to figure that out going into next year, because I saw Nick Castellanos the other day misplayed a ball, and it was like, damn, it's like almost any big league outfielder should have caught that. I know it's tough to say, but kind of just really misplayed that one. Keep it going here with the news. Got Wanda Franco hitting the IL. That one stinks, man. He's kind of slowed down of recently too. Got that right quad strain. He's gonna be out at least 2 weeks. That stinks to see, man. This young guy, he's got all the talent in the world, but we got to see what happens with him. Once again, having that down year so far, just things to see. So just accordingly, guys. Next up, we got Max Muncy's. Well, good news. He's getting a little closer. Took some batting practice today with the team there with the Dodgers. Should see him back, sooner than later. That's at least what the Dodgers are saying. Hopefully, a guy like that could come back, help out some of your teams that need that power from him. Love that multi-position eligibility too for Max Muncy. I would actually go out there and see if you can get him really, really cheap right now. I'll go as far as saying that I do like Max Muncy. I had a great year last year for the Dodgers. One that we like to hear, Matt, is Yankee fans. Stanton is supposed to be back within the next couple of days from that swollen ankle. Hopefully, Yankees could use that big bat back in the lineup. Be awesome to see him back out there with Judge, just doing their thing together. It's been an awesome season for the two of them.
Yep.
Lastly, we got Sonny Gray, Minnesota Twins. He's still out with that right pec. I think they're saying he's going to miss his next start at least. Not sure if he's going to hit the IL there or not. He's actually been decent lately. So, just adjust accordingly there. All right, Matt, we're up here with that big waiver wire segment, guys. This is when you want to really listen up. We got some good names for you here. Matt, I feel like I've been ranting this whole time. Is there anyone specifically that you'd like to talk about here to start us off?
Yeah. I mean, I got my boy Alejandro Kirk.
There you go.
He's been killing it over the last week. He's actually had a decent season in terms of batting average and total.
Yes, sir.
So on the year, he's got 17 runs, 3 bombs, 13 ribbies, and he's batting .304. But this last week was just monstrous. I mean, he has 8 runs, 2 bombs, 6 ribbies, and batting .615.
Yes, sir.
Now, that kind of production from your catcher is ridiculous. I'm not going to say he's going to go out and do it again next week, but I mean, Honestly, I mean, if you look at the catcher situation, what catchers out there are giving you that kind of even batting average, batting average help? Like, and he's on the Blue Jays, so even if he gets on base, which he is, he's at least going to drive in some runs. So that's at least something being chipped in every single week for you from your catching position. Whereas other guys, they're not getting that.
Yeah, I'll say this, man, to chime in with you there about Alejandro Kirk, Toronto Blue Jays catcher there. He's been playing a lot of DH too for them. Played the last 3 games in a row here, including today. So you love to see that. It looks like the power's starting to click for a little bit for him here. Before May 31st, before that 2 home run game on May 31st, where Kirk went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, he only had 1 bomb. So it looks like that power, people expected, he's a short guy, but he's stocky. He's got a lot of power in that bat. So people had expected him to, be a little bit more of a power guy. So if he could keep that batting average up around 280, that power starts to come in there, he's definitely somebody you're going to want to go and pick up. Alejandro Kirk is only 38% owned on Yahoo. I know there's been a lot of catchers out there lately with MJ Melendez and Matt, who else would we tout? William Contreras of the Braves. A couple guys that we've thrown out there recently, but he's another one, guys. If you haven't figured it out, or you didn't get Contreras, or you didn't get any of the other guys we're talking about of late, Alejandro Kirk's a great option at catcher. As Matt said, on that Blue Jays team, that he's been moving up that lineup, hitting 4th and 5th the last couple of days there. Definitely going to want to go out and get him before it gets scooped up in your league. So next up, let's talk about name. If you've been playing fantasy for last couple of years, this guy, Hunter Dozier of the Kansas City Royals. He's been heating up lately. He's been looking good. He's got that multi-positional eligibility. He's eligible at first, third, and outfield on Yahoo. So far this season, he's got 23 runs, 5 bombs, 17 RBIs, a steal. He's hitting 279. Just somebody, if you need a little guy that can go out there and replace people on, a day off, have him there on your bench, ready to go. He's been heating up a little bit here lately. I think he could totally do worse. Just somebody that, if you've been familiar with fantasy over the past few years, he's reliable. He just gets a little bit of everything. Just somebody. I'd say he's not one of the higher end guys to go out there and get, but he's just somebody. If you're in deeper leagues, 35% owned on Yahoo. Hunter Dozier, Kansas City Royals. Could totally do worse if you need somebody there at the end of your bench.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's putting the ball to the bat and getting on the field.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kansas City's looking pretty good too. And not for nothing, Father Time has looked sadly on him. But I mean, because he used to be a power guy and a terrible batting average guy, but now he's flopped it. So now he's not really hitting home runs, but he's at least getting you batting average. And be quite honest, if you're getting that on a guy you're subbing in, on off days, and he's not killing your batting average, that's a home run for you. Because I mean, there's not too many guys out there like between him and Kirk. I mean, what guys are really hitting 300? So
Yeah.
it's worth it, at least for a filling guy. I mean, we all got like 1-2 bats at the end of our bench that are gonna help us on those off days.
Yeah, so he's somebody like deeper leagues you can go out there and get him. I'll tell you somebody I like a little bit more than him is this next guy up, Andrew Vaughn of the Chicago White Sox, man. I'll tell you this. I don't know if this is his big breakout year, but he's definitely showing us why he was a big time prospect. On the year, he just came back from that injury, but on the year so far, 291, 6 bombs, 22 RBIs. He went 4 for 5 on May 31st with a bomb, 2 ribbies, 55% owned on Yahoo. He's eligible at first and outfield. He's been hitting second consistently in the lineup since May 25th. Somebody I think you need to go out there and get him at this point. I could see him taking off sooner than later and just being somebody that we look back at the end of the year and like, damn, Andrew Vaughn kind of showed us why everyone really loved him coming into last year. And, even this year, a lot of people loved him too.
Word.
Any thoughts there on Andrew Vaughn, Matt, or?
Oh, my bad.
You're good. You're good.
Yo, it's one of those days, bro.
I thought you were, be honest, I thought you were about to pick him up. I was about to see how Matt's about to snag this one.
Nah, I mean, Andrew Vaughn, good talent, but he's ride a wave kind of guy right now. He's not a long-term solution like any of the guys we've talked about. But last week was impressive with 2 bombs and 8 ribbies and batting 304 again. I'll take that. And he's another guy. I keep talking up that value of batting average on guys that won't kill you when you sub them in and whatnot. Just go for it.
I'll tell you this, Matt. I think you're wrong. I think Andrew Vaughn is gonna be pretty damn good. I don't know if it's gonna be this year, but he's gonna be a good baseball player. I love his swing. I think that White Sox team is better than the performing so far. And if he could find his way into hitting second in that lineup behind Robert, behind Abreu, behind all these guys they got, that can drive and runs pretty good. I think he's going to be a talent at some point. Like I said, if it's this year, you kind of want to take that shot on him. If you got the room at the end of your bench and you need a bat, I'd definitely say he's one of the guys I like. A waiver wire pickups that we're going to talk about today.
Oh yeah.
Who you like there next, Matt? I know Vaughn is somebody that I'm raving about. Anyone there left that you would like a lot?
Yeah, Spencer Torkinson. So
Okay,
he's finally, yeah, one of the high end prospects for Detroit. I think he was like a top 10 prospect coming into the
yeah, I
year.
think even higher than that.
Right. So the kid's great. He really started off to a real slow start, truthfully. I actually dropped him because I did draft him this year as one of my last couple picks. I am a big fan of the talent. Last week he did have a nice little week. Finally, he's doing something. He batted 343, four runs, a bomb, 3 ribbies on that Detroit team that's a little putrid and not really performing. That's pretty good week for him, and not for nothing, I think he's going to start picking it up if he can find that power. Hopefully it's a trend in the right direction. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll say this to talk about Spencer Torkelson there. He's eligible at first and third on Yahoo, 36% owned. He's starting to show a little something. On May 30th, he went 3 for 4, 2 runs, a ribby, and on May 31st, across the doubleheader, he went 3 for 7. Wasn't really any counting stats, but I think something's going to turn on for this kid. I hope he doesn't end up like a Jared Kelenic type. I think he's a little bit more talented than Jared was or Jared is. I think that power is going to click, man. It hasn't really started showing yet, but you don't want to be, the guy who's, waiting on that pickup. That's what we kind of been the vibe of the episode, is don't wait, is don't hesitate. If you have somebody on the end of your bench that is underperforming, that's, lowly owned, I would say just cut bait. Go get one of these guys that we're touting here, a Torkelson is a kind of guy who could, hit 10 home runs in a month and, win you a couple weeks there and let that talent really shine through. Once again, Matt and I have both said it. He was a high-end prospect coming into the year. He's underperforming a little bit, but we're starting to see signs that we both like from him here, going forward. Actually, Matt, last guy here is one of your boys. I'll let you take the last one too, because I know it's somebody that you were excited to pick up this week.
Oh, yes. Oof, sorry, guys. It's been one of those days. So
you're good.
It's Cody Clemens. I'm sorry. God.
Again, Matt, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure how it's said. I'm not super familiar with the kid.
I believe he's Roger Clemens' son, if I remember
correctly.
Is
he?
Yeah, that's what I was reading the other day.
I don't even know.
Let me fact check that, and I'll come back to everybody with that. But Cody Clemens is killing it. Was killing it in minors. So he was hitting 283, 316, 523 with 8 homers and 3 steals and 197 plate appearances. He hasn't registered really anything just yet, but you know what? I think he's going to. I think he's going to translate.
Yeah, man. I think you're right. I think that is Roger Clemens' son.
Yeah, because I saw a report when I was at the bar. So
yeah,
that's a little shaky, but
good call. That's Cody Clemens, Roger Clemens' son, Detroit Tigers. Yep.
So it's one of those things where it's a baseball family, baseball mind, second generation, and he's a high-end prospect, killing it right now in the minors. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take the pedigree of the bloodline on that one. It's like you got horses and stuff, trying to...
I hear what you're getting at. So basically, it's basically runs in the family type of ordeal. He's getting got some of the best training his whole life, was around baseball his whole life, was around talented baseball players his whole life because of who his father was. So, definitely someone you could take a shot on. Cody Clemens, again, second baseman, Detroit Tigers, 1% owned, guys. Come on, Matt read you off his minor league stats there. He's been doing great so far. So I will say, out of everybody, he might be towards the lower of the pack, but second base has been tough this year. I say definitely in your 12s, 15s, if you got room on the end of your bench, definitely somebody to go out there and speculatively throw an ad on. Once again, when it runs in the family like that and it's starting to show through for the young kid here, definitely somebody I'd be interested in deeper leagues as well. So let's move on here from the bats. We'll get into some little arms here. If you need some pitching help, let's go with you know who I want to talk about first here, Matt. Somebody who had a great outing the other day, and that's George Kirby of the Seattle Mariners. And I'll tell you this, he's had a couple of rough ones in a row, so he might have been dropped out there in some of your leagues, right? 46% owned on Yahoo. So he had two stinkers in a row after two pretty good starts in his debut. Once again, George Kirby we're talking about here. But on May 31st against the Baltimore Orioles, he went out there, gave you 6 strong, got the win, 8 strikeouts. And on the year, these numbers look pretty good. I'll say that. He's got 1 win. That was the last game pitched, as I just stated. Got the 3.46 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 26 innings, 28 Ks. I like what I see from the kid so far. There's going to be a couple bumps and bruises along the way. I'll give him the comp of like Logan Gilbert last year. So, Logan Gilbert last year showed us, all the talent in the world, and he had a couple ups and downs. And, the numbers at the end of the year didn't look as great as he really showed us, the talent is. Now, this year, Logan Gilbert's going out there and he's doing awesome so far. So, I'll give George Kirby that type of comp as far as, what to expect going forward. I think he's going to show a lot of greatness. I think there's going to be a lot of great starts, but I think there'll be a couple shaky ones, but he's definitely somebody I want to own in all formats going forward. Only, once again, 46% owned. Matt, I don't know if you want to chime in there and add a little bit of thoughts on George Kirby there.
Yeah, I missed that on the Kirby.
Got him. I only got him in 1 league, but I think he's totally worth the ad anywhere we can get him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a young, nice talent. He's showing him stuff like you said. I don't know if he's the Gilly level, but you know what? We'll see.
Hey, man, he was highly touted prospect. I think he was like number 4 pitching prospect before he got called up.
No, I hear you. But I mean, Gilly was number 1.
Yeah, he was.
And he was like but I'm not knocking Curb. Curb is gonna do Kirby things. He's gonna be good for you. And you kind of hit it right on the nail, like right on the head. He's going to throw some bad games, but that's any young pitcher, and actually any pitcher at that point.
It's going to come with the territory. Comes with the territory,
right? I mean, right now he's a full play ahead. He's never sit until he runs into a bad couple games and earn it. But right now, just keep rolling him out there, start him with confidence at this point, and scoop him up at 50% owned.
Yeah, I'll just one last little thought here on the kid is just this. You don't want to drop him after a couple bad ones, because I'll say this. I think his ownership percentage was up a little bit higher than 46. And then, on May 19th against Boston, he only threw 5, only 3 Ks with the 9 ERA, the 180 WHIP, and then the next time he went out against Oakland, 5 innings, 9 Ks though. Those Ks are nice, but the 7.20 ERA with the 160 WHIP. But then that bounce back, like I just stated, against Baltimore, and it just don't drop him. Don't drop him. Just hold tight, unless he has like 5, 6 bad ones in a row, then cut bait. But I'm telling you, he might 2 bad ones, 2 good ones, but I think the final year numbers and the talent will prevail, All right, so to pick up where we left off here, let's get into the next guy that we're going to talk about. Let's go with somebody that's been pretty impressive here so far for the Tampa Bay Rays, and that's Jeffrey Springs. Somebody that's come out of nowhere, not really super familiar with him myself. Snagged him in a couple of leagues because he looked good, and he's been paying off so far. I'm going to grab his stats for you here real quick. Bear with me. Okay, so Springs so far. On the year, he's got 2 wins, 1.62 ERA, an 0.81 WHIP, 33 innings, and 33 Ks. So he's gotten his shot here in the rotation over the past couple weeks, has looked pretty good. May 21st against Baltimore, went 5.2 innings, got a win, 7 Ks, no earned, 0.88 WHIP. Then this is one's even more impressive against the Yankees. I know Stanton wasn't in the lineup that day, but 6 innings, 6 Ks, 3 ERA, and 0.83 WHIP, pretty impressive. So here far tonight against Texas, he's gone 2 innings, giving up a run, 3 Ks, and a 2 WHIP. So a little bit cheeky so far tonight, but somebody I'd recommend. 50% owned on Yahoo. He's got good numbers so far, and starting pitching is becoming harder and harder to come by. So I say just go out there and snag him if you got the room. We got a couple good names for you here tonight, so I just basically say it's whoever's available type situation.
Yep. I mean, a 50% owned with a guy under 2 ERA. with almost a K per nine, I think is a home run for you on the waiver wires. You know, it's a why not situation. And I mean, I don't know too much about the kid outside of the fact of, you know, what he's doing this year, but hey, he's shown at least, hey, he deserves a spot on that team. But let's move on to Edwin Cabrera.
Edward Cabrera.
Edward Cabrera, my bad.
Got you.
Um, God, my computer just does not want to work for me.
Well, I'll chime in.
Thank you.
About the kid, you know, he was the number 2 Miami Marlins pitching prospect behind our boy Max Meyer, you know, that we talked about, you know, but since he's been banged up, looks like, you know, he got the shot that Max was going to get. And man, I'll tell you this, in that first start the other day, he was absolutely lights out. Let me just get those numbers here.
I got it.
Yeah, go ahead. Was it at Coors Field too? I believe it was, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
6 innings, got the W, 9 Ks, no earned runs, and a .83 whip. That's
so just looked, and that's at Coors Field. So looked absolutely outstanding there. I'll say this, so far in the minors, you know, it wasn't absolutely great, but the talent's there. Kid throws hard, got good breaking stuff. But in the minors so far for Edward Cabrera this year, he had 1 wins, 2 losses, a 3.90 ERA across 6 starts, 27 innings, you know, a whopping 39 Ks. That's kind of what he does. He's a strikeout guy, a 1.30 whip. Now, I'll say this. He's below Kirby for me. He's below Springs for me. But he's just someone that's got talent. And I'm just going to keep throwing this out there. It's just, you know, the deeper you get into the season, the harder it's going to be to find any pitching talent. And you're going to look back at the end of the year and be like, oh, I should have grabbed this guy, should have grabbed that guy. So once again, what we're talking about today is go out and get these guys. Cut the dead weight at the end of your bench, you know, and make that move. Don't be afraid, guys. You know, even if these guys don't pan out, the good thing is now you got somebody to drop for the next guy, you know. Sometimes you don't want to have your team fold with a bunch of guys you can't drop, because then you're going to be missing out on guys, you know, going forward. You know, it never hurts to have a healthy full team of guys that are performing, but, you know, it's nice to sometimes have that spot you can play around with, then, you know, possibly get one of these guys like Edward Cabrera of the Miami Marlins. Let me get that ownership percentage here on Yahoo real quick before we move on to the next guy. Once again, he's got great breaking stuff. He throws hard, just a 12% owned on Yahoo, guys. So, I mean, it's just somebody you go out there and you take a chance on. Hey, if he gives you 2, 3, 4 bad ones in a row, you get rid of him and you move on to the next guy there. Matt, any thoughts here on Cabrera before we move on?
He's a nice little ad. That first outing is just marvelous. So
yeah, at Coors Field, you know, you normally don't see stuff like that, so it's definitely a good start to his 2022 season here.
Right, they definitely threw him into the fire, and he came out blazing with 3 dragons behind him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I mean, I'm all about it. I think he's definitely worth an ad. And you know what, guys? It's a ride the wave situation. Yeah. You're gonna learn that the people that usually win fantasy baseball are guys that can kind of grab guys for a quick start, play the matchup game, and you know, kind of make the most out of what's on the waiver wires each and every week. And that's why we do this. And he's one of those guys. You know what? Scoop him up. See how long it lasts, drop his butt, and then move on. But let's move on to our next guy, and that's Spencer Strider of the Atlanta Braves. He's having a decent year so far. His last week wasn't so hot with in 7 Ks. He did get 7 innings. He did get 12 Ks, which is really nice. But he got lit up for a 6.43 ERA. Actually, I apologize. 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't think that was the last one, right?
Collective, it is actually May 30th. 4 innings, 7 Ks, 10 ERA.
Yeah, he got lit up in that last one.
But against the Phils the week before that, he had 2 innings, got the W, 5 Ks, 0 ERA with a .75 whip. Now that's kind of the stuff as to why he got more innings in the second game. I think it was just, you know, a little probably something kind of floated the wrong way and he got a little gypped. But he's looking good so far over the year. I mean, in 28 innings, it's 44 Ks, 3.45 ERA, and a 1.08 WHIP. He's definitely worth a flyer, especially at this moment, especially if 4% owned.
I'll say this with Spencer Strider. The last time out was the first time that the Braves said, hey, we're giving you a shot in the rotation. So it was like, you know, maybe the nerves got to him. You know, a lot of pressure on the kid. You know, he's been lights out so far in the year. I'm going to check how old he is. I believe he's fairly young. I'm not 100% sure, so don't hold me to it until I check. Yeah, 23 years old. So, 23-year-old kid, Atlanta Braves championship team from last year. They tell the kid, hey, this is your shot in the rotation. You got to do something. Charlie Morton's been underperforming. And, it's kind of maybe he said, oh, I got to really do something here with it. And maybe he got a little nervous. But Matt read those numbers to you on the year, 44 Ks across 28 innings. Really, really impressive, if you ask me. Next time out, he's in course. We know we just told you Edward Cabrera handled it, but not everybody does. So, I think he's kind of a sit back. You grab him, 40% owned. And I'll tell you this. I totally think that he's worth a shot. I think he may be my number one here. I think him and Kirby are pretty close, but I love that Atlanta Braves team. I love the potential of this kid. He's got monster numbers on the year, and I say you go out there and you snag him with confidence. So moving forward here, let's talk about our last guy, and that's Dakota Hudson, the St. Louis Cardinals. He's been pretty good so far. Once again, a name if you've been playing fantasy over the past few years, you know who he is. Only 14% owned on Yahoo, so another one here for you that isn't too owned. On the year so far, not super impressive numbers, but 44 innings, 3 wins, 25 Ks, 3.22 ERA, and that whips a little high at 1.41. He's probably the bottom here of the totem as far as the guys that we've talked about so far. But his last 2 outings have been pretty good. Last one was June 1st. He got the win, 7 innings, 3 Ks, 1.29 ERA, a 0.71 WHIP. The game before that was 4.2 innings against Milwaukee, 3 Ks, no earned, 1.93 WHIP. So the WHIP isn't really going to be there for a guy like this. Neither are the Ks, but it's a good team. The ERA is good. If you're really, really dying for somebody, I think he gets the Cubs next time out. And I got the Cubs gear on, but they haven't been that great this year. I actually got the Chris Bryant throwback on. That's one of my guys. But so he's the last one that we had as far as starting pitchers. Matt, anyone you wanted to throw out? Anything you want to say about the kid before I move on?
You covered it.
All right, well, fair enough. So let's dig in on some closers. And Matt, I believe we got another Hudson here. Maybe caused a little confusion, but we got Daniel Hudson now. This one is actually a little bit more interesting than Dakota Hudson. So for Daniel Hudson of the Los Angeles Dodgers, it looks like he might be closing for a little bit. I saw a note there on that Krembro is going to be unavailable while he's trying to fix his mechanics. He's looked really bad on the year. Before I go with Hudson's numbers, I'm going to read you Krembro's numbers because the Dodgers went out there. They traded for him. I believe they traded or they signed him. I forgot which one it was, but they had Blake Trinan. I know he's not not doing his thing either this year, but somebody that we thought was really could take the role and thrive with it. But Craig Krembro on the year for the Dodgers in the closing role, he's got 15 innings, 21 Ks, 10 saves, but 4.80 ERA with that 1.40 WHIP, man, that's not really going to get it done, especially comes playoff time. I mean, you don't really like to see that from Krembro. But Daniel Hudson, on the other hand, he's got 16 innings, 18 Ks, 2 wins, 2.25 ERA, a 0.81 WHIP, and don't look now, but he's got the last save there for the Dodgers. He got the win on May 21st. He got the save on May 28th. And as I said, I think going forward, it looks like he's going to get a couple shots out of here. And I mean, maybe he doesn't look back, but I'll say this, it's definitely not guaranteed, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah. 16% owned on Yahoo, by the way. My fault. Just want to throw that out there.
I mean, the fact that he's getting save opportunities is something that's said right there. I mean, maybe he just gave up the job at this point, and Hudson kind of capitalized and is taking his stride. I don't know if he's going to have a long leash, but we'll see how long it rides. He's definitely worth the scoop up this week, especially if you're struggling for saves.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I mean, he's somebody I'm going to take a deep look at here after the podcast, see if I can get him on a couple teams. But I don't know at the moment. I mean, I think just the Dodgers are a great team, and if you need the help, he's the guy right now. I'd say the hot pickup at closers.
Yes, sir.
The next one here we'll talk about. Let's do Tony Santian of the Cincinnati Reds, man. I know it's like a revolving door over there, but he's been pretty good. So I mean, pretty good of late. Pretty good of late. Let's not go on the year. He's got the last 2 saves for the Reds. I mean, now that I'm doing a little deeper dive, numbers actually don't look so great here on Tony Santian. 4.67 ERA in the year, 1.56 WHIP, 17 innings, 20 Ks. It's kind of like a desperation if you really need the saves. That's who they're looking to at the moment. I do like Edwin Diaz's brother though on the Reds. I mean, he might get the saves at some point, but I mean, I guess as long as Santian's converting, 6% owned on Yahoo. That's like a deep league play, guys. At this point, I mean, if you need the saves and there's nobody else there, I guess you can throw him on your team. Matt, any thoughts on Tony Santian there?
I mean, it's a little risky because you could blow up your ERA, but at least
totally.
But at the same time, though, the saves opportunity, if he's getting the opportunity, it's worth an ad. Is how I'm looking at it, because saves are something hard to come by, and that could be difference of a W at the end of the week. So I mean, that's why we're throwing his name out here. This other guy we're going to throw out is almost in the same position. That's Tanner Rainey, the Washington Nationals. He's had the last 2 save opportunities and capitalized and got them. He had a terrible couple weeks, but he seems to be getting things back together. He's got 5 saves on the week. I mean, yes, it's the Nationals. There's not going to be too many save opportunities, but at the same time, they're giving it to him, and that's the guy. And he could be that third guy you add that can kind of give you like a little chip in on the week. So screw it, scoop him up, and it's not like he's going to murder you.
Yeah, see, I'll say that. I think, as to where Santian, it's really the numbers, and he's got the role here, and it's more of the team with Rainey. The Nationals really aren't going to win a lot. I mean, not that the Reds are. The Reds are probably even worse, but the numbers look good for Tanner Rainey. It's a 2.35 ERA on the year, 1.1 WHIP, 15 innings, 18 Ks. As Matt said, the 5 saves. They're going to be far and few to come by, but it looks like when they come by, Tanner Rainey's getting it done. So I mean, if you need the security at the position, 35% owned, I go get Rainey. If you need the upside, go get Daniel Hudson. And if you're just in a league where it's, like a 15er and, it's just that everyone that gets a save op is owned, Tony Santian, 6% owned on Yahoo. You could probably do worse than him in a 15er. So guys, we're going to wrap things up, with Fantasy MDs. We appreciate everybody listening as only. We're back here with you. Should be back on track, normal schedule, everything. We're going to be trying to push a lot more stuff out there. Guys, going to be doing a lot more, on social media and everything. We've been a little slow with the, holiday weekend, but guys, we appreciate you sticking with us and listening and doing everything you can. If you like what you hear, once again, go on YouTube, give us a little subscribe, go on Apple, and if you could write a little, review, give us a 5-star review as well on there, and same things on Spotify. It really goes a long way. But once again, guys, that's our waiver wire episode for the week. We'll catch you guys next week. And until then, guys, appreciate you.
Peace.